Hi my friends, how are you? I hope everybody's fine. My name is Daniel Villarino. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My friend Ariel from Mi Cuba Cafe, I don't know if you remember him from the video that is showing in the card in the top corner there. He is building an old wheelbarrow, an old style wheelbarrow basically, following the model of an old one that he had, but that one basically broke down with the weather. It used to hold plants and pots and stuff like that. It's decorative, and he would like to make a new one. And he told me if I could help him with the wheels for the wheelbarrow and do them old style. And I told him that I was going to help him, that it was going to be my pleasure. I really liked the project. So we discussed about different models, and then we came up with something that I planned in SketchUp, which is a design program. And I made a presentation in SketchUp where I show the different components from the hub, the race, and then the wheel itself, and how to assemble them. So let me show you the presentation in SketchUp first. This is the general wheelbarrow design. I made it in SketchUp to see approximately the dimensions according to the data that Ariel gave me for the box and some other flat parts. As you can see, besides the wheels, that, as we will see later, have several elements made in the lathe, including the hub, the spokes and the rim, there are also other elements that can be turned, including the axis that connects both wheels, the handle and the legs. In this SketchUp animation, you can see the segments needed for the segmented octagon needed for the turning of the hub. It will have 8 segments. In the presentation you can see the measures. If you wish, you can pause to copy them. First, I thought about making the perforations before the turning, but later I had a complication and I decided to use a jig to be able to perforate the hubs once they have already been turned, but that we will see in the next video. The hub has a perforation that will hold the axis connecting both wheels, and 8 perforations for the wheel's spokes. I will make some reinforcements since this is a cemented piece and it will be exposed to the elements. In this image you can see the hub with the reinforcements already placed. The rims are made out of 16 segments. Some will have perforations and others will not. The ones with perforations, this time I was able to do it before assembling the segments. This is important since these perforations point to the side and it would have not been easy to do them once the segments were glued. Once turned, I will make 2 recesses to the rims, 1 to each side. In these recesses, I will glue some plywood rims that, once again, will serve as reinforcements for the segmented rims. In this image, you can see the segmented rim with the reinforcements placed, but as we will see in the video, the real order of assembling will be different to this sequence, since to place the spokes it will be necessary to reopen the segmented rims. These are the dimensions and the process for turning the spokes. You can see finally all the elements together. For the drawing process I use bright colors to distinguish between each piece, but here you can see the whole with colors more similar to what will look in wood. The wheelbarrow will have two wheels and they will be connected by an axis. Do not consider the measurements displayed for it, since later I realized that there was a part of the axis that goes through the support bushing that has the same diameter as the hole in the hubs. At last, you can see the two wheels connected by the axis. I am not sure if I will use a conical pin like the one displayed. Turning the pin should not be too complicated, but making a conical hole in the axis can present some problems. So let's see what solution I find to hold the wheel. Okay, based on this presentation you can see that the wheel will require several pieces, and probably the filming of this is going to take some time and the editing as well. So I decided that probably I will break down this project in several videos, maybe 2, perhaps 3. So that's today's project. I hope you enjoy it. Let's get to work. From several pieces of maple, I make sure that one face is really flat. Between the flat face and the adjacent ones, I find the angle closest to the square. That edge will run against the angle formed between the tabletop and the fence. If the angles were too different from the square, I will attach the piece to a sacrificial piece with a right angle. I take light cuts until I get the face I am cutting perpendicular to the one running against the top and parallel to the one running against the fence. I have to form 8 wedges with internal angles of 45 degrees, so I tilt the saw blade to the half of 45, that is 22 degrees and a half. See the diagram. As far as possible, always keep the hands away from the saw. Using push sticks, I made the first tilted cut. I am going to make a first cut to see if the angle is close to 45 degrees. It is close, perhaps a hair above 45, but I can deal with that discrepancy later. With a clamp, I secure to the table a block of wood, dark brown, so that it will give me a uniform base measure for the isosceles triangles. This way I cut 16 45-degree wedges, 8 for the segments of the hub for each of the 2 wheelbarrow wheels. In the miter saw, I cut them to the required length. I will cut now the segments for the external rim of the wheel. See the diagram. I have prepared wood pieces with a rectangular section of 2 inches by 1 inch and a half. I have to make cuts at 11.25 degrees, so that the 16 segments will form a rim. Since it is not a simple angle to set, I make a test with a pine piece to see if the 16 segments do indeed close the figure. There is a bit of light, about 1/32 of an inch, between 2 segments, and the same in the opposing part, but it is something that I can deal with once I have glued the 2 halves. I also make a test to see if the stop block against which I will touch one end will give me the required measure of 2 inches and 31/64. I am a hair proud. I give the stop block a pair of taps to move it ever so slightly towards the blade, and I repeat the test. To tell you the truth, I cannot complain. Now I will make the cuts with the maple blocks. With a fine sandpaper, I remove the thorn wood from the edges. Please check this take. Sometimes when filming a process, the person working has to position him or herself in ways that are less than optimal to make cuts or other tasks. This can be seen when I show the same take from farther away, where you can see my arms in a strange position to avoid getting my body in front of the camera. All this to say that if you see something like this in one of my videos, please think safety first. If you do not think it is safe, don't do it. Look for a better and safer way. Okay, there you have the 32 segments. 16 for each of the rims of the wheels of the wheelbarrow. Now I had to figure out a way to bore, one yes, another not, exactly in the middle of the internal face. On the top left corner you can see the wedges already glued in halves. Gluing them in halves allows me to sand the internal face of each half so that there will be good contact between them. The arrows show a band that was not sanded towards the center. Since I have to bore a perforation of 1.5 inches in diameter along the center, it does not bother that there is no contact in that place. Since I did the sanding, what was to be a perfect octagon no longer is, so I will have to do a bit extra work to make sure that the perforations in each face are well placed and regularly spaced. This video was about just doing the ring of segments, but I could not help myself and I had to use the lathe at least a bit. I placed the faceplate with a sacrificial piece which I will make sure has a very flat surface. I made a PowerPoint template with the most external face of the segment, the perforation and its center, to help me prepare a jig that will make easier to perforate the 16 segments that are going to be, well, perforated. With the help of the tip of the Forstner bit, I locate the template in place and I attach it to the face of the block. I place a small piece of double-sided turner's tape in the middle to fix for a moment one of the segments. Careful of centering it well, and for that the double line, I attach the segment to the template. I do not press it too much yet, until I am sure it is well placed, just in case I need to move it a bit. Adjacent to one of the faces, perpendicular to the base, I screw a small block of pine as a support. I cut another piece of pine in the meter saw with the angle of 11.25 degrees and I place it against one of the tilted faces. With 2 blocks I can now fix the position, so I remove the segment for a moment to detach the turner's tape. On the other side, I place another stop with a tilted face to fix better the segment. What I did works like a dovetail. I can only introduce the segment by sliding it against the bottom wall. A last piece that I will screw and unscrew to fix each segment I have to perforate. Of course, you can do these perforations using a drill press, but I wanted to use the lathe, and this way, once I did the first, I can forget about taking any measures. I start gluing the segments in pairs, one with and one without perforation. I use rubber bands to keep them together. Once they cure, I glue 2 pairs to form a quartet. It will not be easy to keep them together using rubber bands or clamps, but I have seen several turners using the method of just rubbing them and keeping them in place without anything else, with very good results, so I decided to try it. You may be asking yourselves why not to glue everything at once. The reason is that between each quartet I will place a sheet of paper. That way, once the rim is turned, I can break the quarters on the paper joints, and that way will be easier to assemble the hub, the spokes and the rim. glued two quartets to form a half. This way I can sand the faces of the halves so that they will match perfectly well. Remember that 1/32 of an inch of light in the initial test? This is the way that I will get rid of it. On a very straight block of wood, I attach pieces of sandpaper using double-sided tape to make a flat sanding board. I use 80 grit sandpaper. Although it was not seen in the video, every so often I use a combination square to make sure that the half I am sanding has its lateral faces perpendicular to the sanding board. To join the halves, I will also use paper in each of the joints. I use metallic hose clamps to keep the halves together while the glue dries. Okay, my friends, the video has become a little large. I've been working on the components for the wheel, the interior part, the hub where the rails are going to be connected, and also the two rims that you can see here with the perforations for the rails. And you can see in the rims they have marked there the joints where I have put the paper, so that once it's turned I can disassemble it, I can break it, just sand it a little bit, and that will allow me to assemble the whole thing, the hub, the rails and the rims, and glue everything back together. But that will be for a new video. For the moment I am going to put following some pictures that were sent by the subscribers of the channel. Julio from Callao, Peru, made this mallet and these candle holders out of recycled wood from pallets and boxes. Great job, Julio. And Darío from Buenos Aires, Argentina, made this goblet in cherry and cedar, the hollow form in quebracho, cedar and cherry, and the other segmented hollow form in lenga, cedar and cherry. Excellent, Darío. Okay, I hope you enjoyed these pictures. I also hope you enjoyed this first part of the process. If that's the case, please mark the like button down below, make comments, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. And it will be until the next one. Cheers!